And welcome back to another compelling episode of Sports the Nemo Way. And yes, this is the substitute host with the most, Ray. And yeah, your ears are not deceiving you. Alex is not here this evening. He is recovering from a vasectomy injury. So no, I'm playing. He's got a day off. So whatever. I'm just playing. No vasectomy. I'm playing. But anyway, we got the regular crew. Doug, Wade, and Drew's here with me. So tonight's episode is Ray Allen. But before we get to the Ray Allen portion of the episode, we're going to, in honor of opening night in the NBA, we're going to go around the table and kind of give a prediction and who you think's how the season's going to go. So, Drew.
Of course. New host, Drew still goes first. Doesn't matter. Well, we'll start in the Eastern Conference. I think it'll be pretty close to some of the same teams. I don't know what's going on in Philly the last couple of days. Ben Simmons got thrown out of practice today for not wanting to go on a defensive drill. Joel Embiid wants nothing to do with him, so that's that. I think the Bucks will be the number one seed in the East again. Well, I don't know. Yeah, they were last year, weren't they?
No, Philly was number one last year. Number one seed, yeah.
I think the Bucks will go back, at least the Eastern Conference Championship again. I'm not sure if it'll be the Nets. Maybe the Heat and Kyle Lowry this year. I think they'll be, if they can all play together and get together. So I think it might be the Heat and Bucks in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, I don't know. It depends on how early Kawhi comes back for the Clippers and if playoff P can put some magic together during the regular season. I think the Lakers will be good as long as their old bodies don't wear out on them. 50 games in. The Nuggets with getting Jamal Murray back, I think that'll be huge for them. Trailblazers will be in there somewhere. Damian Lillard will get them there, but probably lose in the first round. But
got the Utah Jazz.
The Jazz.
Really good.
3-time defense player of the year, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Lockdown defense, baby. I say Lakers, Nuggets again, Western Conference Finals.
Okay.
I like that.
But I do think the Mavericks will finally get out of the first round with Luka. I think he'll finally get his first playoff win. Not playoff win, but first series win. But I don't think he'll get to the Western Conference Finals quite yet. And then I'll probably say Bucks and Lakers in the finals. And I think the Bucks might win again. I think they might be able to repeat.
I like that. Nice.
Wade?
I'll probably be pretty close to what Drew said, to be honest. I think the Nets are the best team in the East, but maybe the most injury-prone at the same time. Obviously, if Kyrie does play, which we don't know, he's always hurt. Kevin Durant's had trouble the past couple of years being hurt. So that's obviously, if those two players get hurt or don't play, that's a big deal. I do think it'll be Milwaukee and New Jersey barring major injuries again. I just don't think the rest of the East is quite on their level. There are some good teams, just not quite that good. Again, I'm nervous about the Nets, obviously, in their injuries. I don't fully want to predict them to make the finals, but I feel like they very strongly could. I'll say Nets, to be a little different from Drew, will make the finals out of the East.
Ooh, okay.
But I do think it'll be Milwaukee and the Nets. The West is harder. Let's be honest. LeBron's probably going to be in the finals. He usually is. But I would say Utah or Denver, kind of like Drew said again. If Utah can get over the hump a little bit in the second round, they seem to always mess up in the first or second round. Someone usually takes advantage of Rudy Gobert, and it just doesn't go very well.
What do you mean? He's Defensive Player of the Year 3 times.
And then they bring him out to the perimeter and abuse him.
Pick and roll.
Yeah, but I'll say Utah. I'll say they get over the hump before they get too old. They have a pretty good roster, but they're getting a little up there in age besides Mitchell. But I say they get over the hump. They make the Western Conference Finals. I say LeBron beats them, and they meet the Nets. And I'll say the Nets win because I like Durant more than LeBron.
Okay. Sounds good. Doug?
All right. Well, in the East, I think you guys are right. Milwaukee and New Jersey, New York, the Nets, whatever. Brooklyn, sorry. But I am like Wade. It's all about the injuries. If Durant is healthy and Harden stays healthy, I think the Nets will be fine. I'm not really too worried about whether Kyrie does it or not. I think Harden and Durant, with the with the cast they put around them, are good enough to get them there. And with health, I think they can beat the Bucks. And so I'm thinking the be Bucks Nets with the Nets coming out. In the West, I think the Mavericks will be better, but not good enough. Utah, they always seem to mess it up. I think the Lakers probably will make it as long again as they stay healthy. Nuggets with Murray coming back, and I still think the Suns are going to be good as long as they don't mess things up with Ayton. I know there's been some contract stuff going on, and I think they may have shut that down. And as long as that doesn't become too much of a distraction, I think the Suns might sneak in there again. I'm going to go Suns, Lakers. With the Lakers making it, LeBron's getting close to the end. He's going to have to get in there another time.
Mm-hmm.
And then
He'll
Lakers,
find a way.
Nets. Well, I don't know.
It's hard, ain't it? Super teams.
Yeah, that's all about health there.
Yeah, but that's all about who's actually playing in the series.
Yeah, I'll stick with my Lakers. I'll say the Lakers upset the Nets in the finals.
Okay. All right.
Right.
For me, I think the Suns are going to make a strong push to the finals. The other Nuggets, Utah, I think they're going to choke again. I don't think the Joker's got it in him, really. The Lakers, I think they're just like a 62 Chevy truck in 2021, and it's just going to break down.
All right, could happen.
Let's see. Damian Lillard, I don't see him in Portland by midseason.
I don't think they have the talent level, even with him on the team, to make a serious run.
No.
Yeah, and you may be right. He may be someplace else, and that may change the whole playoff picture.
Yeah, if he goes somewhere.
Well, if he goes to Philly, and then in the East, Philly shoots up there with him and Embiid and Tobias Harris. That's if they do it.
And that's who I have for the East. I think Philly's going to make something crazy midseason, and it's just going to catapult them to the finals.
I think if they can swap Simmons for either Beal or Lillard, they will be in the upper echelon of the NBA with the Nets, Bucks, and Lakers.
But Philly's got to make a move.
They've
got to move Simmons because it's just that whole environment's gotten so toxic for everybody.
I mean, they couldn't get past Trae Young in the second round. I mean, and they were the better team. Yeah. The Hawks did have a really good second half of the season, and they played well in the playoffs, and they're a talented team. But they weren't on the same level as the 76ers.
No one on the
Ben
Hawks.
Simmons fell apart.
And no one on the Hawks could guard Joel Embiid. Let's be real.
No one should be able to guard Ben Simmons.
No.
He's a 6'10", athletic powerhouse of a guard that just faded away.
Like when Joel Embiid said when he knew he didn't dunk the ball, literally standing in the lane, he said, "Yep, we lost."
Yeah.
He literally gives up a wide open dunk.
Yeah, Well, we interrupted your prediction.
No, you're fine.
So you can keep going.
So, besides the Philly potential trade, I mean, it's going to be Nets and Bucks if that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really there's a lot of good talent out there right now, and it's really kind of tough to pick one. But I think it might be Bucks and maybe the Suns again. Might be
I think it's possible.
Back to back.
There's a chance.
Yeah, I think the Suns have somehow, even though they were just in the finals, have now become kind of that underdog, dark horse team that they were last year somehow, even though they just made the finals. Everyone's already talking about the Nets and the Lakers and the Nuggets getting Murray back and stuff, and everyone's already forgotten about the Suns who just made the finals. It's kind of funny. They were kind of a dark horse last year, and then they might sneak up on everybody again.
Yeah, that'll happen. But yeah.
I don't think this team will make the finals, but I think they'll sneak up on a couple people. I think the Warriors, if Clay can stay healthy.
I think it depends on what kind of version of Clay we get, because
Yeah.
a torn Achilles and ACL back to back is rough.
We haven't seen him in 2-3 years.
And then a lot of people forget. I think he'll still be able to shoot for sure, but he was a lockdown defender.
He was.
And if he's not a lockdown defender, Steph's not a great defender. If he's a bad defender, Draymond's getting older. Wiggins actually did play defense last year, but that's not a lot of defense if he struggles on defense.
We'll see how Wiseman, how he progresses. If he starts stepping into, a little more of a role with the team, or finds his role with the team,
Big
he
men
could be a big help.
Big men seem to be making a little bit more of a jump forward in the past year or two. They were kind of fading away out of the NBA, and then Jokic and Embiid and some other Gobert, if you like him or don't like him. The big men seems to be clawing back a little bit.
Mm.
They are important in certain series now. And with Anthony Davis, you can call him power forward, but he's 7 foot. He's a center.
Yeah, he's probably going to be playing center more this year.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't play more center, they're not going to the finals.
Yeah. Aiton's a good center. So centers are making a comeback. So if Wiseman turns out to be good, that will be helpful. That will be.
Well, all right. So listeners, you heard our picks out there. Whether you agree with them or not, we don't care. So
All right.
yeah. So on to the Ray Allen portion of the episode. The 6'5", 205-pound shooting guard with some nice notorious nicknames: Ray, Sugar Ray, Jesus Shuttleworth, Skinny Walt, and the Gentleman. He played on 4 teams: Milwaukee, Seattle,
Boston,
and Miami. Played for 18 years with the career stats average of 18.9, 4.1, and 3.4 in assists, with field goals at 45.2, 3-point percentage at 40, and free throws at 89.4. So, who we agree is going first here?
Me.
Drusev.
Yeah.
Okay, Drusev, it is to you.
All right, well, I have him at the lowest. So that's what we'll be starting at this episode. I have him at 50-10. I'm probably the farthest away from everyone else. Everyone else has him. Well, you'll see here in a minute after I say my little stuff, like always. Well, with Ray, he's got 2 titles. As the first one, I would say he played a really big role at game. He took one of the games over in that series and just totally lights out against the Lakers. I'm not saying he did that every night, but he was a big role of that Celtics team, I would say. He was the shooter, like one of the shooters on the team. Did he really play defense, I thought?
It was he was never a phenomenal defender. He was a decent, smart defender.
Yeah.
Nothing special though.
He'd play passing lanes and get you.
Yeah. What I looked up is early in his career he kind of struggled on defense. He got to where he was a decent defender. And when he went to the Celtics, when he was surrounded by a little bit of rim protection, he actually had really good defensive numbers. And then when he got older, they kind of faded away.
Yeah.
So
I would say for Miami, he didn't really.
He was old.
Yeah, he was old. I remember watching those series. He just came off and shot open threes in the corner, as we all know.
He was approaching 40 years old at that point.
I would say he's a clutch 3-point shooter. He's in the top 3 with him, Reggie, and Steph on the list of all time.
He's number 1.
Yeah. He is number 1.
Yeah.
Steph, how close is Steph to catching him?
He's going to get him in probably a couple of years. I'd say.
He's gonna,
if not sooner.
Yeah.
Steph, I had this down here. Ray's made 2,973 threes, and Steph's got 2,832. So he's only 140 behind him.
Oh, he'll catch him this year.
Yeah.
He'll catch him this year if he's healthy.
He'll catch him this year.
So, yeah. Which, for the beginning of his era, they didn't shoot as many as they do now. I feel like if he was in this era, I think Ray Allen would be not much better, but he would shine a little bit more, I think, because he'd probably be, if he was on a team with by himself with James Harden, like what James Harden did nowadays, I think Ray Allen could do something like that.
Well, to kind of help your point, it says right there, for his career, he averaged 5.7 3-point attempts per game for his career. Steph Curry, I believe, just averaged, double-digit attempts a game?
He's shooting like
2,000 2,000 a game.
Yeah, I believe he just averaged 10 or 12 attempts a game.
Whenever you see his stats, he shot 4-13 or 4-12 tonight, and you're like, geez.
Yeah.
Most guys only shoot back then like 5.
Mhm.
So I mean, if
Yep.
like
I mean, he was the best shooter in the league for a while, and he was maxing out at 7 a game.
yeah. So I think that would help him if he played a little bit like now. So that's my opening stuff on Ray.
Okay. So, who's next? Doug.
It'd be either you or Uncle Doug.
You or I.
Doug.
Okay. Peak points for Ray was 26-4. He scored 24,500 points in his career. He's 29th on the scoring list. His average is like 97th. Rebounding is not top 250. Assists, he's 98th on the all-time list, but not 250, top 250 with his average. He did make 54th in total steals. He is, as Wade said, first in three-pointers made and attempts. His three-point percentage is actually like 48th. If you look at, Drew mentioned he's number 1, 29.73. Steph's second, 28.32. Reggie's third. Kyle Korver is fourth.
Yeah.
And James Harden is fifth.
No, that's just pure volume.
Yeah.
He's just jacking them.
As you were saying, we were talking about most threes made in a season. Okay, if you look at just one season, Steph's number 1. He made 402 threes in a season. Okay, Harden has the second highest season. Then Steph has the next 3. 3, 4, and 5. Then it's Harden again. Okay, and you have to get clear down to 17th before you hit Ray.
Oh my God.
Ray's biggest season was 269.
Wow.
That's 17th on the list. But again, I think that's just a function of the NBA is different.
It's the volume of threes they shoot.
Right.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
so many more, And but if you ever watched Ray shoot, he had a pretty shot.
Yes, he
And,
did. Yeah.
If he was playing now, I think he came into the league a few years before he really could have been at his peak. If he was playing more now with the way they shoot threes, I think he'd be right there with Steph and them, putting them up. And I mean, he's good size. I mean, he's 6'5". He can get his own shot.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, anyway, that's why I liked Ray.
Okay. For me, he's kind of a similar player as Reggie. I guess I like the shooter type, I guess. But he was really, really good in Milwaukee. That's where I really like watching him at. Other than Milwaukee, he just kind of became the side player, I guess. Kind of like in Boston, the super team formation. He really wasn't the face of that team. It was Paul Pierce. Then he gets to Seattle, which is probably like a dead spot for him, kind of. I mean, he's still good throughout the years.
Was he there when Peyton was there?
They were traded for each other.
Ah, okay.
Because he was in Milwaukee, and then him and Gary Payton get swapped, and then he plays in Seattle for a handful of years with young Rashard Lewis, who becomes an All-Star.
Okay.
And they're there for 3-4 seasons together, and they make a good run in the West for a little while before he goes to Boston.
Okay.
Okay.
So then he gets his little stop in Seattle, and then he goes to Miami, and another just kind of role player spot for him. So, I mean, let's see, I got him 39th on my list. I think the reason he's down so far is because he was only really the main guy for one team. I mean, he was good throughout his career, but, I mean, he's only been the main guy for one team. To go along with the past episode with the Reggie argument, he was the main guy the whole time throughout his career. Whether you guys agree with Reggie anymore or not, I mean, they're similar players, but I think Reggie was way more clutch and just a little bit better of a player in his career. Ray Allen he turned into like spot-up shooter.
Yeah, for parts of it, for the end at least.
Yeah, because I mean, his early time in Milwaukee, he could drive, he'd dunk on your ass.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, it just I don't know. Maybe he just got tired of running around.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, he's a good player. He's on my list. Can't dog him for that. But I mean, any higher, he'd have to do a little bit more. But he's at 39, so that's why.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm gonna give my little Ray Allen case, and I'm gonna ask a question. But as far as with Ray Allen, to kind of add on to what Ray said, he comes into the league as this. Went to UConn, correct, Uncle Doug?
Yep, he did.
Went to UConn. He comes in. He's really good for the first couple years, but he plays with, I believe, Glenn Robinson and is Sam Cassell there?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking? No, am I thinking wrong point guard? I know Robinson's there.
Yeah, there was a kind of a big three there in Milwaukee.
I thought it was Cassell.
I think you're right with Cassell.
At least Cassell was at least there briefly.
Yeah.
Because that's when they made their playoff runs. But he comes in. He's a good player right off the bat. He ends up. Robinson's probably the best player for a few years, and then Allen probably takes that mantle as the best player in Milwaukee, at least for a few years. He becomes this consistent, not superstar, but legitimate 20 points per game, all-star caliber player for a few years, and he's known as this really good shooter. That's a fairly good athlete.
10-time All-Star.
Yeah, he is a 10-time All-Star, but I believe only 2 All-NBAs. So 10-time All-Star is impressive, but the 2-time All-NBA is yeah. That means he was the best at his position only a few times. Yeah, Uncle Doug just showed me Sam Cassell was there, so we are correct on that one.
Okay.
And I believe that's when they made that run, and they met Allen Iverson in the Eastern Conference Finals to go play the Lakers.
With the whole free throws thing.
Yes, that's when they believed that that one referee threw the series. But that's fuck Allen Iverson. But anyway, but again, he's blossomed into this kind of all-star player with Milwaukee. He's really good. Obviously a great shooter. But when he went to Seattle is what really impressed me the most. And then with Boston, I'll explain. He goes to Seattle. He's there with a really young like Rashard Lewis. But in Seattle, he became the man, and he played more not just spot-up shooting, but he got to create with the ball in his hands and show his complete game. Kind of like what Ray said, he could drive to the basket. And not only could he do it, he was really good at it when he was younger. He's an underrated athlete on top of being one of the greatest shooters ever. And he goes to Seattle and takes off and kind of starts to go into close to what you would say a superstar, not just an all-star, a superstar. Points per game go up. His assists go up. And his rebounds might have even gone up, I believe. And he's still really efficient like always. And he hit a level that not every player hit. Every player in the NBA hits or all-star player hits. So that's being a superstar is something. And then he goes to Boston where he was an important kind of piece to the puzzle and showed that he could work within the team concept and not be a selfish douchebag like some other players that can't do that. And he did win a championship there, and then obviously he goes to Miami, where by that time he's older. He's not a superstar anymore. He's not an all-star. He's just an older, smart, intelligent spot-up shooter, and hit one of the most clutch shots in NBA history to help LeBron get a championship. So that's a very interesting career. But my question that I was going to ask everybody, can you make an argument that the only difference between Ray Allen and Reggie Miller is one played on 2 super teams and one stayed in one spot, his original team? Because their stats are almost identical. I think Ray has more all-star games and then has the 2 championships. But he played on 2 super teams with Miami and Boston. Reggie stayed loyal to the Pacers. Do you think that's a legitimate argument, or do you think no?
I think.
I mean, there are.
It's a good argument, but I think Reggie was more influential to his team than Ray Allen was.
Okay. No, I mean, I would say Reggie was probably more to the Pacers than Ray was to any of those teams. I'd agree with that. And my personal opinion, I think Ray's peak was a little higher than Reggie's. A little.
I mean, you might be right with that.
That's just my personal opinion. But I do think they're very close careers. And Ray was on 2 super teams that Reggie was never close to having.
Yeah.
And that got him 2 championships. But
Well, I think it's a really good point. I mean, we just discussed Reggie Miller not long ago, and if Reggie had NBA titles, I mean, he may have moved up ahead of Ray Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing. And I do like the loyalty thing. I mean, he stuck with the Pacers, and I think that doesn't always happen anymore. But I think that did affect his career.
I agree.
Had he chased titles, which Miller could have done, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of teams that would have been more than happy to have Reggie shooting threes for him.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
It might have changed his ranking.
But that was the way of the land back in the day. Is
That is
stay
true,
on stay on the team and compete with the other good players instead of beefing up a 3 and rolling and steamrolling over people.
Well, what a lot of people don't like to admit, some people that are Celtic fans or people just I don't fully know why this doesn't get admitted, to be honest. The Celtics started the super team, not LeBron.
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah, he had to make the super team.
People say it doesn't count because they did it as free agents and chose to come together. That doesn't fucking matter. The Celtics formed the first big super team of this era of basketball.
Right.
They had 4 multi-time All-Stars, 3 of which are first ballot Hall of Famers on one team. And people act like the Warriors had never happened before. It's like it just happened 7 or 8 years ago, dumbasses. Like, come on. Like, Rondo was like a 5-time All-Star, so you can't underestimate how good he was. Ray Allen's first ballot Hall of Famer.
Kevin Garnett,
Pierce.
MVPs.
Oh yeah.
And even Kendrick Perkins was a good defensive player and
he was
rebounder.
solid.
So that, yeah.
Well, and thing that if you were around when all that happened, KG wanted to go to the Lakers.
Really?
And Kevin McHale was in charge of the T-Wolves at the time.
I knew
and he
that.
would not trade him to the Lakers.
The rivalry's still
That's
in
right.
there.
And he made the move to send him to the Boston.
Imagine Kobe and KG.
Actually,
Right.
when I did know that when KG went to Boston, he didn't want to go.
Right.
He came out and said that he was not happy about. I didn't know he wanted to go to the Lakers. I honestly did not know that.
Yeah,
but
they
he
were
didn't.
talking to him.
He said something along the lines of he wanted to stick it out with the T-Wolves or something like that. And what I heard, he was one of those real loyal guys and didn't want to up and leave. He wanted to try and win there, and obviously he got traded to Boston anyway. But yeah.
Well, then I think Boston went out and got Danny Ainge too, and kind of helped show that they were really committed to winning. And
Oh yeah.
It's still, I think, kind of a shame that team only got 1 title.
Well, that's gonna get brought up in the KG episode.
Yeah.
Well, we don't talk.
I won't get
about
into it because Alberta will be a big part of that conversation. So
Yeah.
we won't get into it with that.
Well,
one.
I'll just hint at it then right now.
Yeah. That.
Oh, and we forgot to. Where's Alex at on the list?
He
falls
Ray.
between you and I, Ray, and Wade. You and I have him at 39, and I think Alex has him at 37.
37 and his 6th ranked shooting guard.
Oh, okay.
And you and I think have him at 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, I also have him as my 6th shooting guard and 33rd overall. I don't think I actually stated that out loud.
Okay.
But, yeah. It's kind of tricky when we get into some of this stuff because, like, I have Ray Allen ahead of Gervin and Harden and T-Mac and Reggie. Really, honestly, I probably should have put a little more thought into it, but I have him up there because it's 2 titles. But the more you think about it, I'm not sure he's better than a couple of those guys.
That's
Yeah,
why I
like,
kind of have him at
like the Miami title is.
Like, I mean, he was
All set in
he
the
was a
trash.
bench player for it, but he did hit the shot to
Yeah,
win
big shot. Yeah.
to win it for
Well,
them. But,
yeah, I guess. But then you
but I
have-
understand that a bench player title is not. It's pretty much.
I was gonna
nothing.
say, what do you say about Gary Payton's?
Oh well, at
I
least,
mean, he did more than what Gary Payton did.
No.
Way
Yeah,
more.
'cause if we start honoring bench player titles, then we might as well just throw it on Robert Horry on this damn list and been done with it.
Big shot, Bob.
Yeah, I
Lord
love
have
Big
mercy.
Shot Bob.
But
Or
but he
Robert-
was a legitimate player on the Celtics one.
Well, yeah.
Robert
Um,
Parrish's ring sitting on the bench for the '91 Bulls.
Yes, it does technically say he has 4 titles. It does. But yes, I agree. His Miami one is not like he's not even like what the 5th best player probably at that
No.
point.
He comes off the bench. I'm pretty
He was
sure.
a 6th man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a 6th man on the team. But
He'd come in when the big guy needed a break.
and then with the Celtics, most people just slot him as the 3rd best player. He might have been. I'm not sure. They all played specific roles on that team, to be completely honest. Rondo ran the offense, averaged double-digit assists. KG ran the defense, did a little bit of rebounding and scoring. Pierce and Ray Allen did most of the scoring in different kinds of ways. Ray Allen was obviously the one that spread the floor. Pierce did more mid-range and driving. They literally all had a specific role on the team.
Yeah.
But Ray was an important part of it. But it does get tricky because you give him credit for titles, but then was Ray Allen better than George Gervin? I'm not sure.
I don't think he was a better scorer than Gervin.
I agree.
Might have been a better shooter, but I don't think he was a better scorer.
I agree. Well, then James Harden. I mean, I have my head.
So I have James Harden ahead of Ray Allen.
See, I think I made a little rush judgment here. I was like, oh, he's got some titles. I think give him more credit. But then you think about it a little more. I'm like, did I mess that up? I might have. But I don't know. That's tricky. It is tricky.
Okay, so let's do a hypothetical. Let's take his titles away.
Okay.
Where is he at?
It's okay. You can look at. I'm going to say this just to kind of prove my point a little bit. He's probably slightly above Reggie for me.
Okay.
Maybe like one step ahead of Reggie. Because if you look at the stats he's putting up before he goes to Boston, where he's not touching the ball half as much as he was with Seattle, he's putting up 26 and 25 and 24 points per game with Seattle. I think his last year before going to Boston, he's averaging 26 points per game. Then goes to Boston and immediately drops to 17.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't go to that team and get those titles, he's still putting up 20-plus points for at least 2 or 3 more seasons. And his scoring average, his career scoring average, is probably going to be around, if not above, 20,
Okay.
which would be more impressive.
At least he's in the 20s. You can say he's a scorer.
Yeah, he sacrificed. You see those middle years where it's 22, 22, 21, 22, 21, 24. I think 25,
26.
26.
Yeah.
And then it drops down immediately to 17 because he goes to Boston. And he's obviously never approaches that height again because he goes to a super team.
When you're the 3rd scorer on.
Yeah. And then, but if he doesn't do that and he stays in Seattle with like Rashard Lewis, well, even Rashard Lewis leaves, he goes to Orlando,
Yeah.
and he stays the man, he's going to put up hella stats. He just, like I said, just comes off 26 points per game with Seattle before he sacrifices and goes to Boston. So I think his stats are still quite impressive for at least a handful of more years. And I would slot him at least, probably slightly above Reggie at least.
Well, seeing that 26 a game before he went to Boston, it's just another supporting thing for that was the first super team. Because, they already had Pierce, who was putting up big numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Garnett was really good with Minnesota.
He won an MVP
very.
in Minnesota.
Yes.
And then Allen was putting up 26
Yeah.
in Seattle, and they brought them all together.
And Pierce was 20 to 25 a game for over a decade almost. So, he was a superstar.
And Rondo was young and upcoming, and
Yeah. He blossomed. They got lucky with it. He blossomed into an all-star.
he did.
I believe he's like a 5-time all-star. So, yeah, that really was a super team, no matter what anyone says. LeBron did not start it. It was the Celtics. There's no denying that.
It's funny though thinking about young Rondo because he didn't have a jump shot to save his life.
Well,
No.
I didn't have to because of that guy right there.
Right.
Yep.
Ray Allen. And Pierce could shoot, too.
That's right.
In the playoffs, Rajon Rondo could shoot a little bit better.
Recently, He just gave LeBron a big boost when they won a couple years ago. Rondo
He
was
was lights out.
I think he's shot like almost 40% from three.
Yeah.
Like, where did this come from? Rondo.
I think the Clippers. I don't know. I think they could have maybe used Rondo a little bit better.
Well, he didn't. The way they played, like beat Utah, I don't think he really fit what they was doing. And Reggie Jackson was playing really well.
That too. Yeah.
But people also don't get along with Rondo very well.
Yeah, I can see.
He's
that.
gotten in big confrontations with Rick Carlisle and the Mavericks and got shipped off. He got into confrontations with Boston with the big three before they left.
When he was in Chicago, didn't he get into it with
Fred Hoiberg and one of the players.
Yeah.
Might have been Jimmy Butler.
right? Yeah, Butler, because he didn't like the way they were treating the young
Yeah.
players or
Like
something.
Butler, and then I think Fred Hoiberg was the coach.
Yeah.
And so just about everywhere he's went, he's argued and disagreed. Well, he got criticized because he got mad at Kawhi during that one playoff game where he had that air ball. And then, I don't know, they kind of got into it on walking to the sideline, and then Rondo got benched shortly after that. You don't yell at Kawhi.
No,
You
I would
don't.
not yell at Kawhi. He'll give you that straight face. Like, shut
I'll
up,
beat
dude.
you up, yell at Kawhi. That's my boy. Oh, goodness.
All right. We got anything else we want to throw up about Ray Allen before we go to closing statements?
I mean, I think I proved most of my points, I guess, or gotten across all my big points.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will say one more thing, just because I wasn't in the Reggie Miller episode. After I listened to the Reggie Miller episode, there was one thing I kept wanting to get brought up that never got brought up, and it fits perfectly with Ray Allen. And it's something that they do that, like, people, like, it got brought up in the Reggie Miller episode that he only averaged like 3 assists per game, which is true. And Ray Allen is about the same thing. I think he is the same thing, 3.4. But those two players create a ton of extra offense for everyone around them. Due to how great of a shooter they are, they stretch the floor and open up everything else for everyone else playing around them. So, for example, Reggie might average 3 assists per game, but Jalen Rose averaged 20 a game for a year or two with him because he got wide open lanes to cut to the basket because Reggie's running around like a maniac on the three-point line, and everyone's worried about Reggie. And that's what Ray Allen did for the Celtics, and that's what he did for Seattle, and that's what Steph Curry does for the Warriors. And that's one of the most underrated things that never gets talked about for these players. That's why it's so easy to play with Steph Curry or with Ray Allen or with Reggie Miller. When you're that elite of a shooter and you're that active, you create for everyone else just by running around on the perimeter. Because the biggest momentum shifter in an NBA game is a sniper daggering 2 or 3 threes in a row. So that's what they're worried about. And it opens up everything else for everyone else on your team. So it's a huge factor that people don't even realize. And I've been thinking about that since Reggie Miller, and now it fits with Ray Allen. So I figured I'd just say that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for not being there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It worked out now. But, Drusif, go ahead, closing statements.
Well, I think Ray Allen's one of those guys he has his 2 titles. I mean, you can say as much as you want whether he deserved it or not. He was on the team. He got him.
Yeah.
But I think he's one of those guys that you can put at the end of your list. I don't think many people will argue with you about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's number 1 on the 3-point list made. I mean, 2-time All-NBA. We probably could have been a lot better, but there's probably more stuff about that, how there's only 2 guards picked and whatever. So, but he does have 10 All-Stars, so at least he has that, I guess. He's a Hall of Famer. He's in the Hall of Fame, so I think he's a great guy to put on the end of your list.
All right. Doug?
Yeah, I think he's a good guy to put it down at the end of the scoring guard list. I still think that had he been a little later, one of the other things I looked at, I was looking at all the 3-point, careers and seasons we talked about. Also looked at most threes in a game, and Wade, I think, mentioned that Ray was taking maybe 7 a game. The current record for threes in a game is 14 by Klay Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
He's made double in a game what Ray was taking.
Yeah.
Behind Klay, Steph and Zach Levine have both made 13, sorry.
Zach
13
Levine.
three- yeah, Zach Levine. Well, wait till they get to the next one.
Oh boy.
At 12, you have 3 guys. Again, Steph. Kobe. Kobe actually made 12 in a game. And Donnell Marshall.
Oh, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah. He actually made 12 threes in a game.
Dad, I was hoping you were gonna say Bob Cousy.
No.
That's not true. That's
So
false
yeah,
information.
they're making more in a game than he even took. So that might have changed his career path.
What was the big stat back in the day? It was like Dennis Scott at like 9.
Probably.
Yeah,
I mean, that was like
I
the
think-
big one there for a while. It was like
Right.
9 or 10.
I
It
think
was
there
like,
for a
oh my
while,
God.
like Kobe and like I think Latrell Sprewell at one point hit like 10 or 11 in a game, and like Kobe had a game or two like that. It was like 10 or 11 or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh my God, he shot 10. And now look at him.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that stat on ESPN a while back where it said in the 90s the average shot attempts for a team in a game was 7 3-point attempts per game for a team. It was up to almost 40
Oh my
in today's NBA. It was like 38 or 36 or something of that
Insane.
nature.
That's ridiculous. So I guess I'll go with mine. Ray Allen. Great shooter, great player. Kind of got overshadowed by other players that he played with, but still good. Still good distraction for the defense. He's on my list, so I mean I can't dog the guy.
No.
But compared to Reggie, I think Reggie made more of an impact. Way more iconic moments, more playoff appearances because of Reggie's play. Ray Allen was probably more a helping hand than he was a main player on a team. But anyway, he's on my list at 39. Wadester.
Awesome. I mean, I think you all made good points. I agree with Drew. I think he's a perfect selection for the bottom of your shooting guard list. When you look at shooting guards, the all-time leader in shooting threes is a good choice. I think he's almost underrated at this point. He's kind of thought of just this great three-point shooter when he was in reality a very, very good all-around offensive player in his prime. Was just an elite scorer in the NBA for a long time, and one of the greatest three-point shooters ever. Just to kind of sweeten the pot there. Again, one of the more efficient players of all time. And one of my favorite stats: win shares. 145 of those damn things.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even know how to
Win
get
share machine.
You don't even know how to get one.
Win share machine,
You don't know how to
Drew.
get one.
You see Allen Iverson? He's nowhere near 145. Get out of town. Get out of town. I had to throw that in there. But yeah. Anyway, he does have 2 titles. One is a bench player, so doesn't probably mean a whole lot besides the one really clutch shot. You had to give him a little credit probably, but he was an important part of the Celtics one. I believe someone referenced him kind of carrying the Celtics for one of the main games in the finals that year.
Yeah, it was.
So he was not only was one of the best players on the team, but showed up big in the biggest stage. And obviously hit one of the most clutch shots ever with Miami. So he's just really good shooting guard. And good choice at the bottom of your list.
Okay. All right, listeners, you've heard the stats, you've heard the facts, you've heard our opinions. Whether you like it or not, it's out there. So, anyway, on to trivia.
Oh yeah, time for my question.
All right, Drew, you going first then, I guess?
Yep, like always. All right, you got my feeling at number 1. Dennis Rodman has the most 20-plus rebound games with 158. Who is second?
So who is second with
The
most 20-plus rebound games?
Yep.
Wilt and Russell aren't 1 and 2.
Nope,
Really?
I find that
they're not even in the top 6.
maybe it's
And they both averaged
over
like
20.
20 points or 20 rebounds a game.
They probably
Yeah.
don't count them because they're not on this list.
Okay, so I'm guessing it's probably from a certain point on.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
a flawed question, Drusiv.
I didn't really think about that.
Well, even your boy Bob Pettit would probably be on the list.
Yeah.
Okay.
It must mean since something.
Yeah, because like Uncle Doug said, they
Trying to
averaged over.
find- Bill Lambier is lower down the list, so he's at least on there. Who else?
I guess-
Charles Oakley lower down is on there.
So this is what, 80s and 90s?
I'm guessing it's okay. I hope you guys out since my question was very flawed. Let's go from 90s up.
Okay, so we played from the 90s up.
Yeah,
The guy who was in second.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we can just So that will help because all these other guys are like in the 90s. And stuff.
Rebounders, 90s up. There's
All
been
right,
a
I
few
got to
of those.
guess. Yeah, because Chamberlain was going to be my answer.
Yeah, or Russell. Like that's like automatic.
You know, it's like, oh, they got to have 20.
Oh,
I don't know.
It goes back on here on my thing that I'm on from 82-83 season.
Okay, that makes more
Okay,
sense.
So from 82 on.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna tell you it's 90s and up for this guy.
Okay.
But I just saw that at the bottom
Ooh,
of the
never
page.
mind, never mind,
Should have
never
looked at that before. I'm sorry, guys.
Changed my mind. Wait, 90s and up. Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, I may have the wrong one.
Ray looks confident over here.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm going to leave mine.
All
All
right.
right, I'm good.
Are we all locked in?
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
All right.
I said Ben Wallace.
I said the round mound to rebound.
Okay.
And I said Shaq.
Andre Drummond
Oh, okay.
with 84. Then Dwight Howard with 82. DeAndre Jordan with 60. Then Charles Barkley with 54.
That was close.
Okay.
Ben
All right.
Wallace had 42.
Oh, all right.
Shaq had 35.
All right. Who's next down the line here?
I can go if you want.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, which one to choose from? All right. There was only one player in NBA history with a winning record against Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron. Who is it?
Oh, gosh. Well, I got to think of someone who's played against all. I'm guessing it's someone who beat Michael when he played for the Wizards. It's probably-
Well, might be part of it. Yeah.
Against.
Oh,
Hmm.
gosh.
Ooh.
And this isn't like a no-name player, so this isn't like a trick question. This is a good
Basketball
player.
player?
Yes, very good basketball player.
This isn't some low life who sat on
No.
the bench while
It is not a bench player.
Michael Jordan.
This guy was probably even the best player on his team for a while. On a very good team. I'm giving you too much information. I'm done.
Fine, I'm still not even close, I don't think.
I just got to think of someone who was on a really
I
good
think-
team that played all three of them.
That's the problem. Everyone I think of, like, he could have played with Michael and Kobe, but not LeBron. And I
Okay,
think
we
people
gotta
who
think.
could beat LeBron and Kobe, but not.
I mean,
Yeah.
LeBron was in the league in what, 03?
Yeah.
And then Jordan was
Oh,
in and out till 01.
I got to guess.
Kobe came in 90, what, 6, 7? Something like that.
I think I might have a guess.
All right.
It'll make a little sense once it comes out. I mean, you might even get it. I don't know.
I'm ready.
What do we got?
All right. I put Shaq again.
Okay.
I thought about Shaq, but I put Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
I said John Sally.
Oh. Actually, that might have been close, but it is Chauncey Billups.
Mm.
Oh.
Those
Okay.
Detroit Piston teams got them all. Well,
Yeah.
I guess
I can
they
see
would have got
him.
Jordan with the Wizards, and he was in the league when Jordan was still with the Bulls.
Yeah.
So he could have got a couple wins when he was with
Yeah.
the
But I
people
definitely
before
think the
Detroit.
Pistons probably beat up on the Wizards when
Yes, and then obviously
they beat the Lakers
fought
in
off the
the
Lakers,
finals.
and then they beat the young LeBron with the Cavaliers.
And he also played for the Nuggets, so he could have beat LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Carmelo.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes. He played with, was it the Timberwolves and the Celtics in the 90s? So he was around there for young Covey and old Jordan too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So
I thought
Okay.
Tim Duncan would be.
You or me, Ray?
that was a
Go
good
ahead.
guess.
All right. Okay. Most again, kind of a topic here for threes tonight. Most threes in a playoff game goes to Damian Lillard with 12.
Wow.
Who has the most in a playoff series?
Ooh.
Playoff series.
I feel like this is really obvious, but also a trick question at the same time.
Better not be somebody dumb. Like,
In a series.
All right.
I feel like the people back in the old days, like Larry Bird shots, just made Steph would in one game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have an answer.
Well, I will tell you that it was 33
In a series.
in a series.
Did it say how long the series was? It'd be really impressive if it wasn't 7 games.
I think this might have been 7. I'm not
Maybe.
positive.
It's still impressive, but
Yeah.
been cool if like he did this in 4 games.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
That would be nuts.
That's 8 threes a game.
Yeah. I mean, today's NBA, that's not crazy for someone like Steph or someone.
No. I'm gonna go with. All right.
Everybody locked in?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going obvious. Steph Curry.
I went James Harden.
I went Klay Thompson.
Actually, I think this guy broke Steph's record.
Oh.
I think Steph's record was 32, and it's Donovan Mitchell from the Jazz.
Oh, Jesus.
Was that last year against, or the
I
bubble
think it
year
was
against the
just-
Nuggets?
Yeah, not too
When
long.
him and-
when he and Jamal
When
Murray.
they both of them
Mhm.
kept dropping 50.
Back
Yep.
and forth
Yeah.
every game.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Steph actually had the record before that, and he broke it.
Yeah, I think it did
Yeah.
go 7 too.
Yeah.
But he
So-
was putting up.
No, that got Jamal Murray probably a new contract, and then he kind of fell off
And he
and
towards ACL.
toward his ACL.
Yeah.
Did he get paid? I don't remember. He either did get paid or is supposed to get paid here soon. I don't remember.
Oh.
Doesn't matter.
All right. So here's mine. Since 1985 and 86, more than a dozen players have recorded 10 steals in a game. But who's the only player to register 11 steals?
All right, I got an answer.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
I'm ready.
All right. Go ahead.
I said Isaiah Thomas.
Said Allen Iverson.
Okay.
I said Allen Iverson.
All right. The correct answer is Kendall Gill.
Oh.
Oh,
Kendall Gill was a good, solid player.
he was. Yeah.
Kind of remember Allen Iverson getting a bunch of steals in one game, so
He did. I don't like Allen Iverson, but he stole the shit out of the ball.
he knew how to play the passing lanes. I'll give him that.
All right. So since I don't have the trivia totals this
No one
week,
scored anyway.
and nobody scored anyway, so
Gosh dang.
We know Wade's still winning.
Yes. I
Wade's
believe
winning.
I have like a 9-point lead.
Yeah, Wade is still winning
We'll
at
go with
whatever
that.
score he was. So go watch last week's episode or listen to last week's episode.
There you go.
But anyway, Alex, we miss you, buddy. Kinda.
There you go.
But anyway, it's been a good episode. Glad everybody come out. Who's next? Who's next week?
Steve Nash, I believe.
Steve Nash.
Nash, yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So Steve Nash is next week, and that'll do it for here at the old round table. So check us in next week for Steve Nash, and this is Sports the Nemo Way.